imagine staring at just a single sentence,
Yeah.
right? And it's repeated dozens of times, like a total glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, it's honestly jarring at first.
Very. And then slowly you realize that this this looping mantra actually holds this absolute blueprint, like a way to outsmart the entire multi-billion-dollar diet industry.
Which is quite a claim, you know?
Oh, a massive claim. But today, you and I are looking at a document that strips the whole concept of health all the way down to one extremely budget-friendly ingredient, and that ingredient is cabbage.
It is, without a doubt, one of the most unconventional pieces of source material we have ever had to analyze on this show.
Yeah, that is putting it mildly. So, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission for you listening today is to extract a foundational blueprint for lifelong wellness from this highly concentrated text.
Right.
But I feel like we have to address the elephant in the room first.
We definitely do. The format.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The text we were given to analyze is essentially just a single paragraph of nutritional philosophy.
Yeah.
And it literally starts by saying, welcome to today's podcast.
Which completely breaks the fourth wall.
Right. And then it delivers its message, and then, well, it just repeats it over and over again, dozens of times.
It reads almost like an ancient chant. Or maybe a meditation meant to brainwash you, but, you know, in a positive way.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because honestly, my first reaction was that somebody fell asleep on the copy-paste shortcut on their keyboard.
A very fair assumption.
Right. But when you sit down and actually read it, the repetition forces a kind of surrender. You have to slow down.
Because you literally can't skim it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You start hyper-focusing on every individual word.
What's fascinating here is that the extreme repetition isn't a clerical error. It functions as a thematic hammer.
A thematic hammer, I like that.
Right, because it is striking the exact same fundamental nail over and over again. And that nail is the absolute non-negotiable necessity of whole foods. Think about what it is doing. It is aggressively stripping away all the noise of modern diet culture. It doesn't offer a complicated point system.
No spreadsheets?
Right, it doesn't mandate a specific intermittent fasting window. It just hands you this relentless, looping, unavoidable truth about what a whole food actually provides.
Right, gives us the building blocks, like the raw materials.
Mm-hmm.
The text explicitly states that whole foods, and it uses cabbage, as the prime budget-friendly example, they provide 5 very specific things.
And it lists them out very clearly.
Yeah, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber, and natural plant compounds.
And notice that the list is finite. I mean, it doesn't promise magic. It promises a specific inventory.
Okay, but I want to build an analogy here for you listening to really visualize this inventory. Let's think of these 5 things as a home building toolkit.
Okay, I'm with you.
So the fiber, that's like the structural framing of the house, right? It holds everything up.
Yeah.
And the vitamins and minerals, those are, I don't know, the electrical wiring and the plumbing.
That works perfectly, yeah.
And then the antioxidants and natural plant compounds, those are the weatherproofing, keeping the elements out. But here is where I want to push back a little bit.
Let's hear it.
If we are talking about being budget-friendly, which the text really leans into, why do I need to get all 5 of these things from a whole food at the exact same time?
Ah, the shortcut question.
Exactly. Can't I just game the system? Like, if I want to save money and time, wouldn't it be easier to just buy a giant cheap bottle of generic multivitamins for the wiring and plumbing, and then, I don't know, eat cheap processed carbs for energy?
It's a very common thought process.
Right. So why do I need a cabbage? Are all 5 of these actually doing equal work, or is one carrying the team?
It is a very tempting thought, and honestly, it is the exact logic the processed food industry relies on. We want to isolate the hero of the story and find a shortcut.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to look at the biology of how these 5 components interact. Because if you take a cheap multivitamin, you are just dumping isolated vitamins and minerals right into your digestive tract.
Just throwing the wires into the empty lot.
Right. But without the fiber, which, going back to your analogy, is the physical, structural framing of a whole food, those vitamins hit your system all at once, and your body just can't absorb them efficiently.
Oh, wow. So
Most of them just pass right through you, yeah.
Okay, so the fiber isn't just about, digestion. It's actually the delivery mechanism. Like, it's placing the release of the nutrients.
Exactly. It slows down the absorption so your body can actually use the materials over time. But it goes much deeper than that.
Deeper how?
Let's look at the weatherproofing, the antioxidants, and the natural plant compounds. When you take a synthetic vitamin, it completely lacks the complex web of phytonutrients, those natural plant compounds that a whole cabbage has.
Okay.
In nature, these plant compounds actually act as co-pilots for the antioxidants. They activate them.
So if I'm just popping a pill, I'm getting the passengers, but I don't have the co-pilot or the airplane, really.
That is a great way to visualize it. The brilliance of this source material, and the reason it groups these 5 specific components together in the same breath in every single repetition, is that it is highlighting synergy.
Synergy, right.
Yeah, a processed food might artificially pump itself full of synthetic vitamins, but it completely strips away the fiber and the natural plant compounds. It breaks the synergy.
So it's basically a broken toolkit.
Exactly. A whole food, like a cabbage, is a holistic toolkit. It delivers the materials and the exact mechanism needed to absorb those materials simultaneously.
Okay, I see. So you really can't cheat the system,
Yeah.
which makes me wonder what actually happens once this perfectly packaged toolkit enters the body.
Right, the outcomes.
Yeah, because the text doesn't just list the nutrients. It gives us another highly specific list of physical results. It claims these whole foods support energy, immunity, digestion, heart health, and overall wellness.
Yes, it essentially maps out the entire physiological chain reaction.
So what does this all mean in practice? Because again, the text is so sparse and repetitive, it just lists these benefits sequentially. But frankly, when I eat a bowl of cabbage, I might feel the digestion part by Tuesday afternoon, but immunity,
Right.
heart health, how does a budget vegetable actually bridge the gap from my stomach all the way to my immune system? That feels like a massive leap.
It sounds like a leap until we look at the mechanics of the cells themselves. If we connect this to the bigger picture, we can see that the sequence the source uses is incredibly deliberate.
Okay, deliberately sequenced. How so?
Let's break down the biological friction happening inside you. Every single time your body creates energy from food or fights off a germ or even just repairs tissue, your cells create a kind of biological exhaust.
Wait, exhaust.
Yeah, we call these free radicals.
Like the exhaust coming out of a car engine.
Precisely. Now, if that cellular exhaust isn't cleared out, it builds up
Mm-hmm.
and it starts damaging the cells around it. This is where the antioxidants from our cabbage come in.
Okay, the weatherproofing.
Right. Antioxidants act like the body's street sweepers. They neutralize and clear out that cellular exhaust.
But wait, how does clearing exhaust connect to my immune system? Does the immune system use the exhaust for something?
No, it's actually the opposite. When cellular exhaust builds up, your body panics.
Oh?
Yeah, it views that damage as an attack, so it triggers an inflammatory response. Your immune system basically goes to war against your own internal pollution.
Oh, wow. Oh.
And if your immune system is constantly exhausted from fighting this low-level daily cellular smog,
Then it doesn't have the resources to fight off a real threat, like a winter flu.
exactly, you're draining the battery on background tasks.
So by delivering antioxidants, the cabbage acts as the street sweeper, clearing the exhaust. And because the streets are clean, the immune system can just relax. It stays on standby for actual emergencies.
Exactly. You are removing the friction that constantly drains your immune reserves. And interestingly, this directly answers your question about heart health, too.
Because of the inflammation.
Yes. Chronic low-grade inflammation, which is what happens when those street sweepers aren't doing their job. It acts like sandpaper on the inside of your blood vessels.
Aish, that sounds terrible.
It is. Over years, that constant friction damages the cardiovascular system, forcing the heart to work harder.
So it really is a chain reaction. Like
Yeah.
digestion and energy, those are the immediate short-term benefits. You eat the fiber, your gut moves, you absorb the nutrients, you get energy today.
Right.
But by maintaining that daily baseline, you are preventing the chronic inflammation that eventually erodes the immune system and the heart.
You are paying off the immediate daily physiological bills, which allows your body to invest its extra resources into the long-term infrastructure of immunity and heart health.
Wow.
And when the daily mechanics and the long-term defenses are both operating without friction, you finally arrive at the final item on the text's list.
Overall wellness.
Right. It is not a separate action you take. It is just the natural culmination of everything functioning exactly as it was designed to.
Okay, that makes complete sense now. It is not just a list of random health buzzwords. It is a literal timeline of how a body heals itself.
Step by step.
Yeah, we have the 5 tools, and we understand the biological chain reaction they trigger. But now, the source pivots, and it gives us the operational strategy.
How-to guide.
Exactly. The actual behavioral advice on how to put this into practice, especially given that it's supposed to be budget-friendly.
The tactical application.
Right. The text gives us a very clear instruction. Choose seasonal produce and balanced meals. And here's where it gets really interesting to me. I want to spend a minute really unpacking the concept of a balanced meal.
Okay.
Because in modern wellness culture, that phrase has become an absolute nightmare.
It has become incredibly loaded, yes.
Loaded and exhausting. When I hear balanced meal
Mm.
today, I don't think of health. I think of doing a math problem.
Spreadsheets and calculators.
Exactly. I think of weighing a sad chicken breast on a digital scale, scanning barcodes into a fitness app, and just stressing out because I went over my carbohydrate limit by like 3 grams.
It's totally disconnected from eating.
It requires a spreadsheet,
Hmm?
and quite frankly, it is deeply stressful. So when this simple, repetitive text about cabbage tells me to eat balanced meals, my immediate reaction is, I don't have the time or the budget to play scientist every time I make dinner.
And you shouldn't have to. The modern interpretation of a balanced meal, the macro tracking, the weighing, the apps, is entirely disconnected from how humans actually evolved to eat.
Right.
It is a very recent, highly engineered phenomenon.
So what is the text actually suggesting, if not a massive math problem?
Well, look at the pairing of the words. It doesn't just say balanced meals. It says seasonal produce in balanced meals. In the context of whole natural foods, seasonality is the ultimate balancing mechanism.
Oh.
Because it forces a rotation.
Precisely. Let's look at the cabbage again. If you are eating cabbage in the winter when it is abundant, fresh, and incredibly budget-friendly, which is the best time to buy it?
Right. You are getting a massive dose of a specific profile of natural plant compounds suited for the cold months. But you don't eat it forever. As spring arrives, the cabbage might become less available or more expensive.
Okay.
So, following the rule of eating what is affordable and seasonal, you naturally transition to, say, leafy spring greens or early summer berries.
Which have a completely different set of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants.
Exactly. The seasonality forces a continuous rotation in your diet without you having to calculate a single thing.
That's brilliant.
Over the course of 12 months, this natural rotation inherently prevents nutritional gaps. You are never lacking in one specific micronutrient for too long because the changing season inevitably brings a new vegetable to the forefront.
So the balance isn't something you achieve in a single Tuesday night dinner. It's achieved across the cycle of the entire year.
It outsources the complexity of nutritional math to the natural agricultural cycle. You don't need a spreadsheet. You just need to look at what is growing around you.
And that ties perfectly into the budget-friendly promise. Because if you try to force that spreadsheet balance in the middle of January, you end up buying like out-of-season berries that were flown halfway across the globe.
Paying $20 for a tiny plastic box?
Yes. You pay a massive premium just to hit some arbitrary antioxidant target on an app.
While completely ignoring the highly potent, budget-friendly cabbage sitting right there in the produce aisle.
Man, this is such a relief. It takes the pressure entirely off the individual.
Which brings us to the final promise of the document. The long game.
The ultimate goal.
Right, because this seasonal strategy isn't just about saving a few dollars on a grocery run. The text promises that this approach helps build sustainable, healthy habits for life. I really want to emphasize that word, sustainable.
It is arguably the crux of the entire philosophy.
Because it stands in such stark contrast to everything we usually see. We're so used to the 30-day shreds, you know? The intense detoxes, the liquid cleanses.
The quick fixes. Yeah, but those aren't sustainable. I'm trying to find the right way to visualize this for the listener.
Well, we often compare diet sustainability to a race, right? Like sprinting versus walking across the country. But I don't think that quite captures the psychological toll of modern dieting.
No, it doesn't. You know what it's like. It's like your smartphone battery.
Okay, tell me more.
Tracking macros, weighing your food, fighting your natural hunger cues on a crash diet that is like having 50 apps open on your phone all at once, while your screen brightness is turned all the way up.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. It requires a massive amount of active cognitive load. It drains your mental battery by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and eventually the phone dies. The willpower depletes, and the diet just breaks.
This raises an important question, though. How does shifting to a seasonal whole food like cabbage act as a solution to that cognitive drain?
I suppose it puts the phone in low power mode.
Exactly. Eating a cheap, accessible whole food requires very little cognitive load. You don't have to measure the exact antioxidant output of a cabbage.
Right, you just buy it.
You buy it, you chop it up, and you eat it. It is entirely unpretentious. The simplicity of the food itself acts as a stabilizing anchor for your daily routine. It just runs quietly in the background, sustaining your body without draining your mental battery.
And because it doesn't drain your battery, you can actually wake up and do it again tomorrow. Which, wait a minute,
What is it?
this is wild. Think about the physical structure of the source text we are analyzing today.
Yeah.
We joked at the beginning that it was like a glitch because it just repeated the same paragraph over and
A
over.
repetitive loop.
Yes. The text literally repeats its message endlessly. Whole foods provide. Choosing seasonal produce helps build. And to build a sustainable, healthy habit for life, what do you actually have to do?
You have to loop your behavior.
You have to loop it. It has to be something you can repeat daily, weekly, yearly without burning out.
Oh, wow. That is a profound realization. The medium truly is the message here.
The text is acting out its own advice. It's showing us that the secret to sustainability isn't intensity. It isn't 50 open apps of complicated dieting rules. The secret is simple, boring repetition. Doing the fundamental thing over and over again until it becomes the invisible architecture of your life.
That is the only way a habit actually survives a lifetime. Consistency over intensity, every single time.
My mind is genuinely blown by how a single, bizarrely formatted paragraph about cabbage could contain so much depth. When we first opened this document, I was so confused it felt like a joke.
It did seem completely absurd.
But peeling back the layers, no pun intended, there is a literal masterclass in foundational biology and behavioral psychology hiding in those repetitive sentences.
It really proves that complexity is not a requirement for efficacy. In fact, complexity is often the absolute enemy of sustainability.
So for you listening right now, as we wrap up this journey, I think the major takeaway here is incredibly empowering. Achieving that elusive state of overall wellness, having the energy to get through the day, the immunity to fight off the winter flu, and the long-term heart health to thrive for decades, it just doesn't require a massive budget.
Not at all.
It doesn't require a complicated spreadsheet, an expensive supplement stack, or a miserable battery-draining diet.
The blueprint is already written for you by nature.
Exactly. It is found in simple seasonal whole foods. Foods like cabbage, which bring the entire holistic toolkit to your body at the exact same time. The fiber to pace your digestion, the vitamins to fuel your energy, and the antioxidants to act as the street sweepers, clearing out the cellular exhaust before it can trigger the inflammation that damages your heart. Everything your body craves, wrapped up in a cheap, seasonal package.
The tools are perfectly synergistic, as long as we don't try to outsmart them by breaking them apart.
Yes, exactly. But before we officially sign off, I know you always like to leave us with a final provocative thought. Based purely on the text we analyzed today, this looping mantra of seasonal whole foods, what is the final idea you want our listener to chew on?
Well, the source makes a very explicit connection. It insists that choosing seasonal produce is what builds sustainable, healthy habits for life.
Right.
It draws a direct line between eating what is in season and achieving long-term wellness. It makes you wonder, if our foundational biology is designed to rotate and thrive based on the changing seasons, how much of our modern struggle with chronic illness, fatigue, and burnout is simply a result of us living in a perpetual, climate-controlled, seasonless world? We eat the exact same foods in December as we do in July, expecting different results. Are we fundamentally unwell simply because our bodies have forgotten what time of year it is?
Oh man. Are we sick because our bodies are completely disconnected from the natural calendar? That is a fantastic and honestly slightly terrifying question to ponder. We really are trying to force a single season year-round. I love that thought. Well, thank you so much for joining us on today's deep dive. We loved unpacking this bizarre little document with you, and we will catch you on the next one.